Hello, hello, hello. It's your new day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cami Owen, where we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one. And maybe it's yours. In our 30 minutes, we talk about your emotions and mind and how they tie into your body and spirit. We want you to renew and restore yourself in a world that wants you crazy. And sometimes we even talk about money. Introducing your hosts, Donna Reiners and Dr. Cami Owen. Hello, hello, hello. This is Donna Reiners and
Dr. Cami.
And we're going to talk about a very sensitive subject. I have someone that I know, and then she'd say, I don't get this way looking at the refrigerator. And so, And so I admit I have some weight on me I haven't had on before, and I'm not as healthy as I used to be with regards to that. I'd say I'm happier than I've been before. So, but it still comes, for me personally, it comes down to being stronger. I had a doctor years ago who would say to me, Donna, he's Asian, my gynecologist, Donna, you haven't had your period for a long time. The blood in women is very important. And when that blood stops, things happen in your body that are not good for you. You need to strengthen your bones, because the blood has to do with, it has a lot to do with how your bones are strengthened. And so he was kind of a fear-based. His wife is a cancer doctor. Mm-hmm. And so, and they're both just strong in their health field, mm-hmm. researchy type people. And so he was always challenging me year after year. For him, it was more like yoga, hot yoga, things of that nature. He kept him so strong in that manner. We even saw him one day at a hot yoga place, like, oh, hello, Dr. La La La. And so in the health arena, and then he shared also for men. He said, now in men, it's la 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 la. So he has a science down and everything. And so for women who end up with osteopenia, osteoporosis, all these different things, usually it comes, like it starts really appearing after the menopausal things. Mm-hmm. And it's attached to. So I'm telling you this because it's not just about looking good. There's a health component in women especially, where our bones need to be healthy. And there is a physical component to why our bones are no longer healthy as we grow older. And so, but I also know people that have rheumatoid arthritis in their 30s. So it's not just HC. So y'all know I'm a verbal processor. So I'm processing through the process of, hey, we've got health upon us. And we have a need for health. And mm-hmm. me personally, I know I want to be stronger. Like my website is bestrongerlivelonger.com. Come on. How more clear can you be with that? Mm-hmm. Be stronger, live longer. I have a Facebook group called Be Stronger Longer. So there's something going on inside of me that I want strength.
Yes.
So we talked about weight. We talked about the weight lifting. Mm-hmm. So tell us, how can we be stronger, but also lose the weight that's not serving us?
Yes. Yes. Well, there's, we've talked a lot about emotional baggage, mm-hmm. and at the emotional level, a lot of weight can be, root cause there. Mm-hmm. We have to get to a root cause. Your weight is just a symptom. It's really important to get that your weight is just a symptom.
Whether it be a physical symptom or an emotional symptom.
It's almost always both. Okay. It's almost always both. But most women, and some men, but most women, it's rooted. One of the root causes is their hormones. Mm-hmm. So same with depression and anxiety. It's almost always rooted in hormones. And why that the osteopenia and osteoporosis mm-hmm. and all that shows up postmenopausal is that women's testosterone goes in the toilet. So in the grand scheme of things of how your hormones are supposed to work, have I talked about this before?
I don't think so, but testosterone, ladies, real quick, from what I understand, is really in charge of our energy.
That and our bone strength. So if you don't have adequate testosterone, you're not going to have adequate bone mineral remineralization. Mm-hmm. It also protects us cardiovascularly as well. So the thing about hormones, let's just talk about hormones and how it's supposed to work. So, and we're talking about females right now. So females, we're born, we have all the eggs we're going to have when we're born as little baby girls. And every month, once you reach puberty and start actually releasing an egg, the egg goes to you have an ovary, and the egg goes to the edge of the wall of the ovary, and it opens the side of the ovary wall and pops the egg out. That little encasing of the egg is called a corpus luteum. That is where all the hormones come from. And the hormones are just released from this corpus luteum, and it just kind of shrivels up, and then it goes away. So once the egg goes down into the uterus, and that corpus luteum is giving enough hormones that if a sperm meets that egg and can, impregnate the lining of the uterus, then the placenta starts taking over the
everything has its job.
Yeah, production of the hormones, and then the corpus luteum just shrivels up. This is a side note. What's interesting, the only positively charged cell in the body that works and functions as it's supposed to as a positively charged cell is a placental cell. If you look at placental cells and cancer cells, you can't tell the difference in their function at all. So, little side note.
That's fascinating.
Little side note there. Anyway, but
wow.
So we're supposed to do this for 40 years, and every month that happens for till we're in our early 40s. And then when we stop having the little egg come to the side of the ovary and pop out and do its little dance down into the uterus, then our adrenal glands, which are on top of our kidneys, take over the job.
Okay.
And it's supposed to
be they can take a lot of hit.
Well, it's supposed to be this seamless progression. Okay. We don't need to make babies anymore, so we'll take the job away from the ovaries. Now it's going to go to the adrenal glands.
Okay.
So this is the agreement that the ovaries and the eggs and the adrenal glands have when we come in as little baby girls. What happens is we live these lives, and we're super stressed, and we're super this, and we're going to be super woman, super mom, super girlfriend, super whatever, and we're just at this heightened state of stress all the time because the adrenal glands agreed to kick it for like 40 years. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to do me for 40 years, and then when it's time, I'll kick in the gear. But by the time we get to our 40s or mid 40s or 50s,
our adrenals are exhausted
are like, yeah,
wow,
you did not keep your end of the bargain. I was supposed to be kicking it here for 40 years. I have not been kicking it at all. I am tired, and I'm just not going to do it. So there. So that's what happens. There's this internal battle going on.
Wow.
So what we have to do is come in and say, adrenals, you're right. We did not keep our word. We did not live a stress-free life so you could kick it. We appreciate you. Can we have a new agreement? We're so sorry. We're going to give you some love right now. So that's what's required. We have to go in and get the adrenals, make up with the adrenals and give them a big hug and everything. Say, we're very sorry. And will you please help us again? And then the adrenals, I have not found any set of adrenals that could not be loved right into, production again. So that's really what we're doing, is making sure that once that in the menopausal world that goes into the next phase. Here's also what happens there's many cultures all over the world that do not have a word in their language for menopause in the form that we use it. Like everybody here has been conditioned that you're just going to start having hot flashes, and you're going to gain weight, and you're going to feel bad, and you're not going to sleep, and all the things that everybody can rattle off about menopause. There are cultures all over the world that do not have that at all because they don't have that adrenal fatigue and exhaustion. So when it's time for them to stop bearing children.
That's why you told me several years ago that the adrenals, when they're healthy, can balance your hormones, and I thought you were crazy.
Okay.
Keep going. I'm with you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I still could be crazy, but I'm not incorrect about this.
God.
So that's what we have to do
Wow.
is get those adrenals going. But the other thing that's a big missing in Western medicine for sure is that women, because we have these high stress lives and everything, that nobody's being cognizant of that in their management of young girls all the way up to mature adult women.
And using a phone all the time is stressful all by itself.
Yes, it is.
I won't go into that, but
yes,
you know what I mean.
It's emotional stress, those emotional stresses
Yes,
we were talking about.
And all the pressure.
So it's a big, big root cause of depression and anxiety. But so when you go, you're a young girl and you start your period, the first period in puberty, there's a whole cascade of hormones that come online. That's why you have that, everything's a tragedy and all that, because there's big spikes as the body's learning to, regulate it. And then women go through another transition. They go through about 5 transitions in their life with their hormones. Then, right after high school and getting into college. In college, it's a different kind of stress that you're not used to.
I remember.
And everybody wants to be super mom, or super student, and they're taking on the day. They're taking
super
on
party, super student, super everything.
Yes. So so there's a transition there, and usually mid-20s to early 30s. Now they've started a family. They have kids, and they're having their first kid. So now they have the stress of going. They had the stress of going to college and getting their life going. Now they've gotten their life going, and now they're having children. So there's probably some mismatch in there at some point that never got addressed.
Yeah.
And so now we're putting this problem on top of this problem. So by the 30s, that's where we saw a big spike in postpartum depression and those kind of things, because there has been an elevated stressor.
Nothing's being regulated the way it's supposed to be regulated divinely.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then you go to your doctor and say, I don't feel good, I'm depressed. They put you on a pill that has nothing to do with anything.
Or a psychiatric pill.
It's just gonna turn the volume down of that symptom.
Wow.
But that symptom is simply that. Depression is a symptom, and I would say 80 to 90% of it is rooted in hormonal dysregulation.
It totally makes sense to me.
So then you go through your 30s and your 40s, and you start hitting your 40s, and then the egg stops producing. You stop popping eggs. And at that point, you're in such adrenal fatigue and exhaustion, so that seamless transition that's supposed to happen can't happen, because you're in full adrenal exhaustion. So there's no adrenal glands to take over anything, and then you're just really struggling. The other thing that you might be shocked to know is that physicians are not trained in hormone management for menopause.
Or nutrition.
Even OB-GYNs. You think,
oh my.
Yes, they're not taught. What they're taught is, oh, you have not enough estrogen, here's some estrogen. That's it. That's what they're taught. You just put more of whatever you think is missing
versus bringing balance.
I will tell you that we do not, as a female human population, have a deficiency in horse urine, because that's what they make estrogen out of, is mare urine. So we don't, and it's even in the form that's not what our body actually uses.
That's why it's yellow. I'm sorry. Never mind.
It's not even in the form that our body uses. It's just the form that's easy to make. And that's why we have so much breast cancer in the world. And I don't need the hate mail. I don't care. I will tell you that for all the studies that you think you can show me that hormone replacement is fine, I can show you all the other studies about breast cancer and the studies that were never published. I have many colleagues that are in that world that the breast cancer was so predominant that they had to stop the study. Women were dying in the study so quickly of breast cancer, they had to stop it. And that's one of the reasons nobody knows, because they didn't publish that study.
So listen, right now, I know that this is going to take us off track, but we'll just do several shows on this, okay? Right now, I know that someone is triggering because they're dealing with breast cancer right now.
Yes.
So can you just take a little minute or two commercial on how they can breathe in and breathe out and not be afraid and have some kind of... But at the same time, a disclaimer is we are not your medical doctors.
Nope.
We're not here to treat, prescribe, tell you what to do in any way, shape, or form. You need to talk to your own medical doctor, your own holistic doctor. You are responsible for you. We are not responsible for you in any way, shape, or form. We are here to make suggestions give you possibilities for your own life and how to live it, and continuing to give them hope.
Yes.
What can this one or two people do that are feeling triggered?
Well, if you're actively, dealing with breast cancer, there's a lot of things you can do. I see a lot of cancer in my clinic, and we have great success with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the alternative route, whether it's the traditional route, whether it's traditional and alternative, which, whatever you choose, good diet, good, no sugar in your diet kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, my experience is that breast cancer has a root in some kind of lost love, or some kind of issue with love, a conflict with love. If it's the right breast, it's a male energy. If it's the left breast, it's self or a female energy. But there is definitely support out there for you if you are dealing with that. Having said that, if we could get women's hormones right, we could circumvent a lot of this, because a lot of women have been on birth control a big part of their life
to regulate things,
yes,
for them,
and just for prevention of pregnancy.
Sure.
So that's one of the things that throw and dysregulate everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a system here that does not support women in a healthy hormonal life. We just don't have a system that does that.
What time do we have left? About how many? Because we're going to do another show on this. I don't want to lose track of the fact that men have hormones, and I've even heard that men have actually.
I'm getting there.
They have their own menopause.
Absolutely.
And we only have 10 minutes, so we can just do some in the next show if you'd like.
We can, but I was getting there.
That's so good
on men, because so for women, one of the things I do is I look at the labs, and I run pretty extensive labs to see. And I can tell you in my clinic, my personal clinic, so I can say this, that I haven't had anybody that I haven't gotten their hormones completely balanced, even when they weren't making any estrogen or anything, in 2 to 3 months. If you do what I say. Now, if you don't do what I say, then it takes longer. But for men, I see just as many men with their own, as you call, like a menopause.
Like testosterone could be in the tank.
And part of that is not age. A lot of people think this is all age related. It's not. It's related to lifestyle, terrain, your gut, your microbiome. Because if your gut is not healthy, you can't make hormones right. That's just the truth.
Good to
if your
know.
Gut is not healthy, that's why I start with the gut. Because if your gut is not healthy, neurotransmitters in your brain don't work right.
That's why their gut's called the second brain.
Yes, I think it's the first brain, actually, because if you look at lower organisms, they grow a gut before they grow a nervous system.
Wow.
So your brain, your first brain is in the gut. In fact, if you have Parkinson's and we want to see how you're doing, we biopsy your gut, because it tells us everything we need to know about your brain. So with men, interesting thing, men have sugar issues. This is what I see. This is a typical patient. Have pre-diabetic or sugar issues. So they start having this inflammation, okay, in their body, which has you produce cholesterol. That's just, your cholesterol is like an indicator, like a fever. If you have fever, we don't just say, here's a Tylenol and have a nice day, but that's what we do with cholesterol. If you have elevated cholesterol, we just say, oh, here's a statin and have a nice day. First of all, the statins don't reduce your likelihood of dying from a heart attack, but it sure makes the drug people very rich. And it's very much like taking a Tylenol for a fever and not even looking at why do you have a fever. So when you have a high cholesterol, I look at lots of different forms of cholesterol that are in the body. It tells me how inflamed your body is. So if your body's real inflamed, what's the first thing they've been doing for the last however umpteen dozen years is give men statins, okay? Give them a cholesterol-lowering drug. All your sex hormones are made out of cholesterol. So if you're lowering the cholesterol, now these men need the little blue pill because they can't make enough cholesterol. Also, the stress is the same thing. The process is pretty much the same in men and women, except women have the component of creating creating a baby. So men, I see my men that have very little testosterone, and you're also supposed to have estrogen. And a lot of men are upside down in their estrogen because of all the phytoestrogens in food and plastics and those kind of things. So men don't have enough testosterone, they have too much estrogen. Women are the opposite. I have some women that have too much testosterone and not enough estrogen, and so they have to be balanced. Women have to have much less testosterone than men, but I have some women naturally producing more testosterone than some of the men in my practice, because that's how out of balance things can get. So women, healthy testosterone levels are good for good sex drive, but more importantly, your bone health and your blood health and your strength and all of those things are all very important, and you have to have the right amount of testosterone and balanced with the amount of estrogens you have. So you can make your estrogen. Even if you haven't made estrogen in 10 years, we can talk nice to your adrenal glands, and they will come to the party, and they will let us teach them how to make estrogen again. But it's actually, it's puzzling to me, and I have these experiences all the time. It's just so simple, and I don't understand why it seems to be so hard, because it's not. I don't see it being hard in my clinic at all. But, again, we have a whole program that starts here and then here and then here.
So you take people through a process to change their diet, change how they feel,
get their gut health, and detox them, whether it's emotionally, spiritually, physically, and then put good nutrition in. And that could be in the form of dense nutrition, but also good thoughts, nourishing your mind, your soul, your body. Then fitness, physical fitness, and going to the gym and everything, but also fitness in, how you see your world, how you interact with your world and everything. And then going into mentorship and coaching, having an accountability buddy while you're going through all this, and not having to think about it yourself, but have somebody that's walking with you hand in hand, step by step, 1, 2, 3, getting you through each one of these processes. Because I talk to people all the time that's done 1 or 2 of those things, and they've done, maybe 3 or 4, but in the wrong order, or there's no sustainability to it, because they go from one extreme to the other instead of finding something sustainable for you. Because my job is to teach you and coach you to be health independent for the rest of your life, not just for 6 months.
So let's say someone goes through 6 months to a year program working with you. How do they maintain that afterwards without some of the things?
That's the whole point. Is when we get to that maintenance phase, you are fully trained. You have fully incorporated these behaviors into these changes in your life, and then we can go on a maintenance journey together if you want. Because most of the time the programs just right the ship. Most of the people come in, they're sinking ships, and we write the program, we write the ship, and then get it turned in the course, and then now we're on this path of maintenance. But usually the maintenance is much less intense. It's going to be very hard to not supplement with the food that we're presented. So you're going to have good supplements to make sure you're getting all the vital nutrients, because they're just not in our food. There's no food in our food anymore. That's just the truth. So especially minerals. So, maintaining, whether it's with me or somebody else, but maintaining
the nutrients,
good nutrition
from the food.
And basically a cadence of detoxing, because we're all in a very toxic world, from the air we breathe to the water we drink. I was just, reminded of the whole fluoride debacle of, it's interesting.
Fluoride is bad for you.
It's very bad for you. And they started putting it in our water right after World War II, when all the Germans were putting it in their water to dumb down their
people,
the Jews that were in camps and stuff. They were doing it to dumb them down. But
so they knew.
They did know. There's actually studies. There's actually a Harvard study that shows fluoridated water decreases the IQ in children. Look it up. It's there. And So, and then all the dentists in the world are trained to go out and yank out your wisdom teeth that cause heart disease, and then give you fluoride to this crystalline structure, the one place in our body that can hold the most light and frequency, let's destroy that too.
And all those, or all your teeth are, each one is actually connected to a different organ in your body.
It is.
Every
Absolutely.
single one of them.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I know I can tell we're almost out of time, but I remember one time me having something going on in my brain. And I said, I wonder what's happening with my teeth. And as it was, I had a couple infections in my mouth, and those teeth literally were the direct connection with the inflammation that I found in my brain.
Yes.
So,
it's true.
You know, it's all connected. And again, we're not here to tell you what to do. We're just saying, you know, these are some ideas and these are some thoughts and this is some science that you can actually go research yourself.
Yep.
I wouldn't just keep it all on Google. Hello, Google God, you know.
Yeah.
I would maybe go to even a library. I know it's crazy to think that way, but go to GovMed, PubMed.gov and find some studies. Just put in the little search engine.
Yep.
Fluoride, benefits and negative or whatever.
Yeah.
And just look and see.
I think even there's DuckDuckGo, you have a little less censoring.
Control.
A little less censoring than Google even for search engines. But yeah, there's a lot of information out there. Just our job is just to bring some awareness of a perspective maybe you don't have. And it's not to tell you, like she said, not to tell you what to do or not to do. You're a sovereign being. You can do whatever you want. We're sitting here talking about what we want to talk about and what's important to us and kind of help you.
You can change the channel if you don't want to hear.
You sure can.
So someone that wants to go on the journey to change their perspective on how they see themselves, change their perspective on foods, seeing how they can shift gear, if there are hormones and all those things, you have an undeniable 7-step process that you can help people with. You can find Dr. Cammie and her staff at You Only Younger. That's YOUONLY, YOUNGER. She is based
.com.
.com, based in the Sugar Land area in Texas.
Yes, but we can work remotely with anybody in the world.
Thank you for joining Your New Day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cammie Owen. We look forward to seeing you next time. Remember, we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one, and maybe it's yours. Until soon.